In over 20 years of real estate, I often get asked which is the best way to sell a property, either by auction or private treaty. And the best way to explain that would be to show an example of how an auction actually occurs. In most instances, there is a reserve which is set. For this example, there'd be a reserve at $1 million. In most cases, there's multiple buyers, but generally speaking, it always comes down to two buyers who put their best foot forward in an auction scenario. If buyer number one had their maximum price at $1,020,000, and that's the highest price they're willing to pay physically, emotionally, and mathematically, they're willing to go to that price, and buyer number two had a budget of $1.1 million and the same circumstances had their maximum price set at that figure, the auction would occur and the reserve would be met. We'd have a scenario where there's a bid being made and it would go upwards until we get to the highest price at $1,020,000 with buyer number one. Therefore, being a public auction, the auction prices are disclosed openly and buyer number two would only have to go to $1,021,000 to secure the property. In this instance, the property is sold for $21,000 above the reserve, but in actual fact, sold for $79,000 under the price that buyer two was prepared to pay at $1.1 million. The best way to avoid losing this amount of money would be to have a smart negotiation in a private treaty scenario where buyers are introduced to the property, contracts, building and pests are supplied to those buyers, and we have a scenario where there's a timeline drawn, hypothetically 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, and all buyers submit their signed contract at their highest price and they deliver to their solicitor or the agent. In this particular scenario, if we had exactly the same buyers with exactly the same reserves and price points, buyer number one would come in and submit their signed contract at $1,020,000 and buyer number two would submit their contract at $1.1 million. This therefore guaranteeing the vendor an extra $80,000 in the negotiated sale price. If you're looking at getting any real estate advice, being it in buying, selling or leasing your property, please contact Dignam Real Estate.